Hello, class, and welcome to Chapter 2, Lecture 5A, which is Part 1. We are going to be looking at pages 30 through 41 in Part 1. We begin the second part of your Competency Goal 1, which is health. And if you remember, let's go back and review just a second what that competency goal states. Competency goal number 1 is to establish and maintain a safe, which we have talked about in Chapter 1 all the way through, but we're going to talk about to establish and maintain a healthy, and then the last one is learning environment. So with healthy, we call this functional area 2 in your competency goal 1. And as a CDA candidate, you are actually going to provide an environment that promotes health and prevents illness and teaches children about good nutrition and practices that promote wellness. So we're going to be thinking about that. Early childhood workers, their fundamental responsibility is to provide children with healthy environments and skills to foster wellness. Now, we all know that Ms. Obama is currently, she is promoting wellness. So that is part of our mandate too, is to promote that wellness. And so when you work to keep children safe, nutritioned, and healthy, you enhance their learning significantly. And you'll learn that in child development that a child has to have the proper nutrition. They have to have that social emotional support in order for their brain to work properly. And their brain is extremely important in the first 5 years of their life and how their learning takes place. Now, I want to go over some things with you right now. First of all, and this has nothing to do with our lesson, but it does have something to do with you. I know that we're coming from all different KCTCS schools. Some of you are from Somerset, some of you are from Maysville, some of you from Gateway, Jefferson, lots of different schools, and BCTC. Well, there's a graduation application that you actually need to fill out this time of the semester. And that graduation application, because you're taking IEC 101, you are currently eligible to receive the Kentucky Provider Certificate if you successfully complete IEC 101. So we need to get that graduation application in ASAP. At BCTC, we have to have those in within the next week. So what you're going to do is I'll put the application for BCTC on your website, or you can email me and I'll just send it to you, and then you need to send it right back to me filled out. And those of you from other schools, what you need to do is just go on your website for your school and search for graduation applications. Get your application and then send it to your IEC coordinator or your advisor or whomever they tell you to, because that needs to be in there for you to apply for your Kentucky Provider Certificate. The second thing you need to do is, if you're on the scholarship program, the Kids Now Scholarship, you need to call your person that you make contact with for that scholarship and tell them that you are going to be completing IEC 101, and that will give you eligibility to have a certificate from them as well. So make sure you do that. Okay, the last thing is that some of you are wanting to use Word Microsoft Word to actually type your answers for the observation assignments, and then you're trying to upload them into the assignment box, that won't work, because the observation assignments, as I've said, are set up like a test. And so when you go in there, it'll give you the first question, and then it'll give you a box. Now what you can do is type your answers in a different Microsoft Office document, and for question 1 you can copy and paste what you typed into that box and then hit submit. But you cannot upload your Word document in there. It will not work that way. So you're going to have to use copy and paste, which is fine with me. I have no problems with that at all. So just make sure that you're paying attention to that, okay? All right. So in week 5, our homework, which is due February the 12th, we are going to be reading Chapter 2, pages 39 through 51. Okay, that's your first assignment. And then we're going to listen to Lecture 5A, which is going to have 3 parts, parts 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to complete Observation 5B, which is on Healthy, what we are reading from pages 39 to 51. And then we're also going to be completing Assignment 5C, which is a resource collection item from Competency 1, and it's the number 2. Okay? So, and I was going to have that out so that I could talk to you about that. Let's see if I can't find my paper right here. Okay, so we're looking at resource item, competency goal 1 and 2. Okay, so that is a menu and feeding schedules. You will need to use your reflective competency statement 1. Try to use menu feeding schedules that you have participated in serving and or designing for children. All right, what I want you to do is basically in your observation this week, you're going to be looking at a feeding schedule. You're going to be watching your center feed a snack or a breakfast or a lunch. And then you're going to ask politely, may I have a copy of the menu that you are serving from this week that I observe? Okay, and looking at that menu, you're going to be answering some questions. If it's in the infant toddler section, you're going to provide one feeding schedule or menu used for each age, which is the young infants, the mobile infants, and the toddlers. If a preschool, you just have the one weekly menu. If it's a child care, family child care, you're going to have the family child care weekly menu. And you're going to do some reflection on that. But you've got to have the menu because that's what we're looking for. Okay? All right, so that's 5C, resource item, competency goal 1, number 2. So that goes under tab C once we complete it. But we're also going to upload it in assignment 5C so Miss Maria can see it and grade it. Okay? All right. So let's start our lecture for today on healthy. And again, I'm going to start on page 39. So if you want to turn in your books there. I just talked to you just a few minutes ago about the national initiative. It basically started in 2010. Now, the Obamas were not in the White House at that particular point. George Bush was president. George W. Bush was president at that particular time. Um, he and President Obama were getting ready to switch the White House, I guess, in that. But the national initiative that Ms. Obama is reinforcing came from the Bush administration and on into the Obama administration. So it is a national initiative that reinforces the important relationship between a child's health and their ability to learn. Now, we have known this from research many years ago when brain research came into play. We learned this, and we learned more about it in child development, which is IEC 130. The initiative also recognizes that not all children have equal access to medical and dental health or to the environments that promote well-being. Now, this actually statement goes back to 1965 when Head Start actually started in the United States, because Head Start's main purpose is not only to help children in their learning process, but also they come in with children who are high in poverty to initiate health. They do medical, like their immunizations, those types of things, and dental care on top of that to promote this well-being for children. So what I'm trying to say to you is this initiative goes way back in the United States. It has a huge history. It's not just Miss Obama's initiative. So your CDA functional area 2 that I read to you just a minute ago. The candidate provides an environment that promotes health and prevents illness and teaches children about good nutrition and practices that promote wellness. So in 5A, we're going to be dealing with promoting wellness and responding to illness. Those are the two categories that we're going to talk about in part 1. So promoting children's wellness, how do we do that? Early care and education programs make a significant contribution to children's well-being through their provision of health services, their educational programs, safe and healthy learning environments, and good nutrition. So does your center promote these contributions? I want you to look around this week. One of your observation things is going to be to look around in the environment and see, does the environment promote, posters in their lesson plans, in their menus, do they promote children being healthy? Do they promote a good learning environment? Do they teach? Do they provide good nutrition? Those types of things. That's what we're going to be looking for. So what does wellness mean? Wellness means to be healthy physically, that means in your body, free of disease. And I'm not just talking about a cold, but I'm talking about free of disease from AIDS, HIV, to tuberculosis, to any type of physical ailment. To be healthy physically, to be healthy socially, to be healthy emotionally. It means to have a good social, emotional connection with people. So, the word wellness includes physically, socially, emotionally. I want you to remember that. Quality programs employ a variety of techniques to promote health. Some will say, if you're requiring immunizations, oh, you're doing great. Well, no, that's only part. You continually monitor children's health status, and you identify their personal needs, and you recognize that this process is ongoing. The word that you want to think about in health and providing that health environment is the word proactive. Look for ways to prevent illness and health problems instead of reacting to them once a child is sick. You're being proactive. When you clean and sanitize and make sure children are washing their hands, you are being proactive in keeping illness and sickness and health problems away from your children. So how do we gather this information? We gather it through a variety of different ways. Through dietary assessment, watching what children are eating, watching their dislikes and their likes. And if you have a child that loves macaroni and cheese and then all of a sudden they won't eat it one day, then you know there's something up with that child. So I would begin to question, hey, why aren't you eating? This is your favorite food, that type of thing. You also have your health histories. When a child is enrolled, they have to give health histories. And this is confidential information. But you as a teacher should have some access to that. You just need to ask your director. Health checks through teacher observation. Health checks come in when a child walks in the center every morning and a teacher starts to observe them. Also, your center may require a medical examination. It's not required by licensure, but your center may require that, and which is a good thing. You need to know if the child is healthy. It gives you a baseline. They find out information from parent interviews, vision and hearing screening, and developmental evaluations. If you've got a child that's not developmentally on task with his or her age, then you need to start talking to that particular parent about an intervention plan. If you turn to page 40 and 41, you're going to see some great checklists that I noticed. And it's promoting healthy indoor settings and promoting healthy outdoor settings as well. That's some really, really good information in it. So, now I'm going on to page 42. And I want to talk to you about the difference between cleaning versus sanitizing. You know what's really funny is when I was a director, I'd have this 18 or 19-year-old who couldn't get a no. And we could figure out why sometimes our tables were dirty, but they said they sanitized them. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out what was going on as a director, because I considered cleaning and sanitizing in the same process. Like, the stars, now you'll see this because you're going to be observing this actually. Stars requires for you to take a bottle of soapy water and spray the soapy water all over the table. And then you need to wipe that off with a paper towel. You may have to use 1 or 2 paper towels to get all of that clean. And that is cleaning because it has soap in the water, okay? That's cleaning. Then the next thing after you get all that dirt off is you spray it with bleach water this time. And you use a paper towel, but you have to wait 2 minutes. It has to sit on the table 2 minutes before you can actually wipe the sanitizing surface off. So how do you make bleach water? Well, you take 2 parts bleach, 1 part water. So again, cleaning and sanitizing are 2 different things. Cleaning means that you're going to actually clean with soap and water. Sanitizing means that you're going to use bleach water, which is 2 parts bleach and 1 part water. Two-minute rule here on sanitizing. How long do you leave the sanitizing solution on a surface? It doesn't matter whether we're sitting at the table, we're sanitizing toilets, we're sanitizing diaper stations, we're sanitizing this, or we're sanitizing that. How long do you leave the sanitizing solution on the surface? There is a 2-minute rule. It used to be 1.5 minutes. It has gone up to 2 minutes now, and you must abide by that. So, let's talk what needs to be cleaned and sanitized, and when, and how often. Your diaper changes. Every diaper change, the changing station must be cleaned with soapy water and then again with a bleach sanitizing solution. Every time the sink, it needs to be done the same way. The toilets, your eating tables and your food containers all need to be sanitized and weekly sanitized. Okay? So before you eat, you must sanitize your eating tables. Your food counters are the same way. You cannot have laid around breadcrumbs and all that kind of stuff on there. The next thing I want to talk to you about is yuck buckets. What is a yuck bucket? A yuck bucket is just a bucket. It usually has sanitizing water in it. It is not completely full. And every time you see a child with a toy that they've put in their mouth, chewed on or whatever, and they're finished with it, you just go over there, pick it up, put it in your yuck bucket, and let it sit there, and it sanitizes itself. Your walkers and your high chairs must be monitored so that you can keep up with the cleanliness of when the children eat. Because they may use the high chairs to eat with. They may use walkers as well. My supervisor, who is over the infant toddler section at my daycare, she has them cover up their tattoos. Some of them have tattoos on their arms, so they have to wear long sleeves to cover those up. But she reinforced to me, not only do you look at eating tables and baby beds, but you truly focus on walls and food counters. These are very, very, very important. And at home, you would be looking at the walls, baby beds, nap mats. So, very good things to think about. Number 1 proactive behavior is hand washing with soap and water. So, I want you to have a great week, and don't forget, this is the end of part 1. It's your responsibility to ensure all children are safe and healthy and healthy. That is extremely important. Okay, so let's go on to page 43, figure 11, and talk about animals. What does licensing say about animals? It says that the following animals cannot be in your daycare center. Well, animals caught or found. Let's see, how does that read? Caught or found in the wild often have diseases. Ferrets, hermit crabs, bats, chicken and ducks, reptiles, parakeets, parrots, macaws, and cockatiels. Those are animals that they have listed that cannot be in licensing. If you do have a pet, like a dog that stays there consistently, like we do at our daycare, then you have to have a parental licensure says you have to have a parental permission form from every child signed and dated, saying that that child can be around the animal. Okay, this is the end of part 1.